Hi guys, so I'm going to do Jim Morrison of the Doors. First of all, we're going to go over his love life to begin with, okay? So he was with Pamela on and off. I don't know if you've seen the film as well with, oh my God, I think it's Meg Ryan and Val Kilmer, who was amazing in it. But first of all, he was with Pamela on and off throughout his whole life, okay, even until he passed away quite early. And then we also have Patricia, who was like a Wiccan hands fasting ceremony as well. And she's kept his last name apparently since then. So I'm going to go over those two and see what was the connection like, okay? So let's just see first of all with Pamela. That was his on and on love. I mean, this is from the very, very beginning. This was like the one that kind of stayed with him throughout his life on and off. So let's just see the energy around Pamela. What did Pamela mean to him? What did Pamela mean to him? Oh, my hair's really fluffy. Pamela and Jim Morrison. Pamela and Jim. What was the relationship like? Pamela and Jim. It was never enough to keep him fulfilled, okay? First of all, this Knight of Cups energy did mean, it was almost like, I know this sounds weird, I don't know if this actually happened, but in the film, he just climbed into a bedroom window, and found out where she lives. So I don't know what's true and what's not, okay? But there is this kind of gallant knight coming into her life, really trying hard to win her over, to woo her over, I'm here. So that energy did come in where he was this, I'll be honest, it's almost like that love bombing energy where they seem obsessed with you and they can't sleep without thinking of you. It just seems like a very intense energy when he did come in, because I'm just hearing intensity was his middle name. So I think that's probably a joke there somewhere from him. Intensity was his middle name. Okay. And also I'm hearing he'd rather be known as a poet rather than a singer. Okay, I don't know if he ever released poetry as such. Obviously, some of his lyrics could be seen as poetry, but he'd rather be seen as a poet rather than a singer. That's what's coming across strongly. Okay, but this energy here is for me intensity. I hear with this card. This is usually the dating card. Okay, coming in, I like to date you, but with this, I'm hearing all or nothing and intensity. So this is extreme when they met. Okay. Now, along with the extreme intensity, we also had the extreme fighting and arguments. I'm hearing picking sides. I do feel Jim could be quite cruel in playing sides off against her. So within the musician group, okay, just say she developed close friendships with the other musicians that he was with. At the same time, when she would get close to them, he would try and cause problems to break them up or their friendship up so they would side with him. It's almost like playing off. I'm seeing two American football teams here playing against each other. And it's like this energy of teams, two different teams. And sometimes they would be with her and other times they would be with him. But when she got too close to them, there would be this kind of jealousy where he would try and interfere and cause problems so they would go back on his side, as in the men. So I'm hearing different teams here in their relationship. Now, believe it or not, he did actually see her as a stable partner. That this was the long-term love kind of thing, okay? But saying that, he was still open to cheating. 2 of Wands still means looking around to see what else is out there. This kind of open relationship, free love. I just heard free love. Now, she was in on it to a certain extent. I'm hearing out of sight, out of mind. She didn't want to be humiliated, and she didn't want it to be in front of her face, is the kind of energy coming through. She knew she was the housewife. It's almost like the housewife, stay at home wifey kind of element that I think even Jim joked about with her. But then he would go out and do his own thing, and she wasn't always invited along, if you know what I mean, okay? But I do feel, let's see, it's almost like his work delayed the connection. Now, I don't know if he did long tours without her and things along those lines, but the Knight of Pentacles meant his work and creativity would take him away from her for long periods of time. The Page of Swords is this delaying card in the relationship. So long distance long patches away from each other. The Six of Swords energy is him moving away, but it can also mean him moving away overseas, going to different countries, touring, things along those lines. There's some kind of, she would be the housewife he would come home to. It's almost like he would do tours or do what he wants to, but he would come home to her and she would keep that happy home base. So similar to what I think I saw in the film, where I remember the scene where she was cooking the Christmas dinner and all that lot, and they had a whopping argument. But it's that kind of energy where he would go away, but she would always be the stability to fall back on. He's got the type of energy where he could disappear for months at a time and then come back, knock on a window and just come in and just like cry on her shoulder and say what's going on, and she would take him in again. They always had that bond. And weirdly, I know this sounds really weird, I'm also getting like a brother and sister bond. It was like them both fighting the world together. It was almost a brother-sister vibe as well. Now, when that usually happens, it can mean they had past lives as brother and sisters too. But there's this camaraderie between them that is different than just lovers. So it could have been they turned more into brother and sister as time went on, for example. But she was his protector, and she would take him in. Wounded animal limping in the door. I'm literally seeing a cat coming in through the door after disappearing as a stray for months with a wounded leg, hopping up on the bed wanting attention. That's literally what I'm getting right now on this image, okay? Overall though, I mean, with the energy with them both, judgment, so she wasn't as free as he wanted her to be. To begin with, she was, but then she'd come down on him about his drug use, about his temptations and his addictions, about the way he was acting, that he was out of control. I'm seeing her with, like reindeers, like you get the carriage rides, the reindeers, like almost like a Santa sleigh, okay? And she's trying to, obviously he's only one person, but his force is equivalent to like 7-8 reindeers just ready to take off into orbit. And she's trying to rein him in and she can't. It's almost like, as well, there's split personalities there, which would be interesting, There's so many different facets to him. I'm seeing a diamond and there's so many different sides to him. It's almost like that's what balanced out their connection, because the really soft emotional side that wrote poetry to her would be the one she would remember over the one that's just treated her like crap. But there's so many different sides to him, it kept it exciting. You never knew what you were going to get. So that's the energy with them. But ultimately, she could not contain him. 10 of Swords as endings. But also this 8 of Wands still means, even at the end before they broke up, okay, even when they weren't together, she still felt for him. She still missed him. She still felt positively about him. Even with all these addictions, I do feel she blamed a lot on the drugs that he was taking. But at the same time, it's almost like she should be blaming who he was as an actual person. You can't always put something on drugs. You know what I mean? At some point, somebody needs to grow and can't treat people, like crap, basically. I do see him as one massive toddler, honestly. But let's see the next one. So that was that relationship there. Let's see the relationship he had with Patricia Morrison. Probably said that wrong. June 1970, she married Morrison in a hand fasting ceremony. So let's just see here about that connection. Let's just see. She was a journalist as well that went on tour, I think, or watched him perform. So what was his relationship like with her? Straight away, I'm hearing more intellectual and meeting of mind. She wouldn't nurture him. She was very independent in herself. She showed him a different side to God, not just the typical Christian Catholic values or whatever growing up. She showed him a different side, spirituality, which was starting to come in then with, like the Beatles and all spiritualism and things along those lines. It was more than just one religion. He didn't just believe in a God in the sky. He wanted to explore multiple religions, and she brought him into this one. It's almost like he was intrigued by her. Now let's just see here. Anything that was a bit dark as well excited him. Anything a bit occult or dark. Now Wiccan's not dark like that, okay? Even I was doing this years ago, Wiccan, casting circle, honestly. You get different types, okay? Most of it is, like hedge witch, paganism, working with nature. You believe things come back ×3. Then you get the grey areas, and then you get the complete opposite end of the spectrum, okay? So people get scared when you say the word witch or Wiccan. But a lot of women were just persecuted for being women back then, you know? So, I mean, you could just have the local healer. That you didn't have paracetamol in the bloody 15th century. You know, you'd actually be using your own healing tools to help people. And then, oh, she cured somebody, so she's a witch. You know, it's control as well. It's control. But ultimately, it's not like that. It's not like people think. So let's just see, how does he feel about Patricia? What did Patricia mean to him? He was definitely focused with that Three of Wands on her. Definitely, whoa, charging in hard and fast. So pretty much like the film, if the film is any accurate at all, charging in hard and fast towards her. With, I'm going to get the names mixed up now. With his first love, it was almost like romantic dating, love bombing. With this, it's like, I want you, I'm going to get you, I'm putting my all into you. That's a completely different energy from the one we saw with the knight coming in with the cup, wanting to be romantic and loving. This is like charging in towards her, okay? Now, 1 second, guys, because I've just gone completely blank. Jim Morrison partner. Because their names are so... Pamela, okay? So different to Pamela. Patricia was different energy to Pamela. So Patricia, let's get her energy back. How did he feel about her? Massive, massive, massive sexual connection energy here. That's one of the big things that brought them in. Now, again, you guys have to let me know how true the film is. They showed they had a crazy sex life. It was all passionate and power. Really extreme sexuality between them, chemistry, you know. Very, very extreme here with his energy towards her. Possessive over her as well. Now, I feel he's possessive over her because she was actually very independent, so to speak. She didn't dote on him like Pamela was a natural kind of empath healing person to be around. This woman was very, very strong and empowered, and she was a journalist and she had her own career, and he couldn't really capture her. That's what kept him on her toes with her. She was just free. She was going to do what she wants to do. She wasn't going to pander to him in that sense. It's almost like she's coming across as a teacher and he's coming across as the student, and he's like a jealous little boy student. That's what's coming across. Now, we did have a relationship energy here with them, for sure, with this Ace of Cups, means a new love, new relationship. He did feel positively, but we have the Two of Wands again, which still means he's looking out for something else. You know, it's this energy of, again, the second one, charging in, love, feeling positively, but still not enough to contain him, to hold him. One woman would not be enough for him. One woman, and then we have this Queen of Cups again. Now, interestingly for me, honestly, I really do feel this is Pamela. This is just Pamela's energy. It's completely different from Patricia. Pamela's energy is more security and nurturing and a big heart and healing and empathy, and water energy, which is the Queen of Cups, is a water card, okay? So again, I feel like the history said, he would still go back to her. He couldn't sever the ties completely. He just could not sever the ties. There you go, guys. They were both in the bloody picture. You got Pamela coming back in. You got the world. Now, the world for me means a new chapter, but it also means travel. It's almost like traveling back to be with her, but he would still be seeing the other one with this Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is a love triangle between them all. Now, what I would say is, Pamela obviously was his first love. I would say he needed both. He needed both of them in his life at that time, but it got to the point where he needed more Pamela energy than Patricia. You know, he needed and wanted that nurturing and roots, but by then it was almost too little too late, I'm hearing. Knight of Pentacles energy again, still working, still writing, still working hard, trying to fit them both in. And I do feel the Queen of Swords keeps coming up in this. Queen of Swords to me is actually my Patricia energy. It's somebody that's completely different from Pamela. It's almost like I said, Pamela being more the empathy, healing energy. Queen of Swords is a very strong, like Wiccan, empowered woman, feminist, very strong-willed. This is the energy I'm reading, by the way, okay? Highly, highly intelligent, like a warrior, a female warrior, okay? Completely different energies. Completely different energies. So it's like he went back to get the nurturing from Pamela. He went back to get the teaching from Patricia. Back and forth, being the student, being the... Do you know what? It's like he was the student and then he was the child and she would mother him. Being the student, being the child, and she would mother him. So he needed both in his life. He needed both in his life. So I'm going to finish up in a minute because it's already nearly 15 minutes. But if you would like to comment any questions you have about Jim Morrison, and I will see what comes up. Okay, so we will do a part 2 on this. We're just going to pull 2 last cards for each, for their energy, shutting this down. How he feels looking back now. Does he feel he should have changed anything with the way he was with them? So first of all, let's do Pamela. Pamela's energy here. Oh, Pamela's energy here. Pamela. Oh, Patricia. Okay, I still get the same. I'm still getting the same. If there's anything he would have changed, really, the Knight of Pentacles does mean putting more work into the relationship he had with Pamela to actually see the harvest, the payoff card. I'm even getting family here and kids, seriously. It's about moving towards her, not away, moving towards her to have something more stable and a relationship. So it does look like she would be the better one for him when it comes to grounding. But saying that, when we have Patricia, we still have her being around in the picture as well. The 3 of Cups, it's like, why, I'm hearing, why do I have to choose? Why do I have to pick one? He didn't believe in it like that. He didn't believe in just one, like, monogamy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? She still would have been in it. She still would have been on the side as the lover, as the sexual partner. I still see her being around. It's almost like in his dream world, he'd probably like to have a relationship and a family with Pamela, but still keep Patricia as well. So, yeah. And by the way, you can get more than one soulmate. People assume you just have one soulmate in your life. I really do not believe that. I believe we grow so much as people. You can have your first soulmate you meet at 16 and you're together for 25 years and then your views change or your religion changes and you end up meeting somebody at the next level of your life, which is more suitable for you at that time in your life, okay? So I don't believe in we've got one person we're going to be with for the rest of our lives. And that's why when people get upset and feel they've lost their soulmate, I still believe there's other options out there for people. Right, I'm off. Bye, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.